I'm going to demo how to redact information using Adobe Acrobat 11 Pro. And to do that, I'm going to go ahead and open a PDF where I have information that I want to redact. In this instance, it's a tax return, and I want to redact the Social Security numbers. So I click on Tools in the upper right-hand corner. I scroll down to Protection, click on Protection. Below that, under Blackout and Remove Content, I will find my redaction tools. First thing I want to do is click on Redaction Properties to set the look of how I want my redaction to appear. If I want the redaction to look like a Sharpie, in other words, just black out, cover over information, I would use the Redacted Area Fill color at the very top of the Redaction Tool Property display. And if I click on that inside the little square, I have a choice of colors. I could click on black to, as I mentioned, look like a Sharpie. If I use gray, that's going to look save on toner. And in this case, though, I'm going to use white. And why? Because I want to use an overlay text. So I'm going to use white, make sure that I've check marked the box next to Use Overlay Text. That then allows me to select from a variety of fonts, to change font size, even to change the color. And then, of course, I want to align where I want the text to be, in this case, flush left. And below that, I even have the option to customize the text. And of course, I want to do that for my Social Security numbers. I want to have X's appear where the numbers originally were. Then I click OK. Next, I need to now mark my document or mark that information within my document that I want to have redacted. So I'm going to click on Mark for Redaction. And Adobe forewarns me that, hey, redacting is a two-step process. You first have to mark the information you want to have redacted, and then you actually have to apply those redactions. And Adobe does this because it allows, say, a paralegal or an administrative assistant to go into a document, redact the information that they've been asked to redact, and then save that and either forward it to the attorney or to a colleague or to co-counsel and have them review it. And when they review it, then they would actually apply those redactions that they want to have redacted. So I'm going to go ahead and click on OK here because I know it's a two-step process. And as soon as I do that, Adobe gives me this little box that allows me to begin marking my redactions. So I want to take my time here and be very careful that I only mark the information that I want to have redacted. So I go ahead, I highlight what I want, and then if I scroll back over it, I can see what that redaction is going to look like. And I can go ahead and do it again one more time. And as soon as I let up on the highlight and I scroll back over, I can see what that looks like. Now, I could go ahead and do that throughout my document, but one, there's no efficiency then gained over just using a Sharpie. And two, I could very well miss one instance of a Social Security number, and that would not be good. So Adobe gives me the option to search and remove text. I'm going to click on that, click on OK, and I get a search window. And the first option I have is to search the current document I have open or even an entire folder of documents. I'm going to leave it at the current. Then I have the option to search for a single word or phrase or even multiple words or phrases or even a pattern. I'm going to leave it a pattern because Social Security numbers are a pattern. And then below that, because I've selected patterns, I have to actually let Adobe know what type of pattern. Am I looking for phone numbers, dates, email addresses? Well, in this case, Social Security numbers. And then, of course, I'm going to click on the option to search and remove text. I click on that button. I get the green bar going across, and Adobe returns for me the contextual search results for every instance where a Social Security number or the redacted information or information I'm looking to redact is found within my document. And you'll notice here that there's little boxes, and that allows me to go through, scroll through one by one, and check the instances that I actually want to have redacted. And you'll notice that when I mark the box, it actually skips to where it is within that document. Because I want to typically not have any Social Security numbers listed or shown, I'm going to click on the little box above that says Check All, and that automatically checks every instance or marks for redaction every instance where there's Social Security number. Then below that, Adobe gives me the option to mark either part of the pattern, the word, or the phrase, or the whole. And I'm going to go ahead and mark partial. And when I do that, Adobe then asks me, okay, how many characters exactly do you want to redact? And in this case, I'm going to put 7. And then do I want to redact from the beginning or from the end? I'm going to leave it at beginning. I click OK. And then below that, I have the button to mark checked results for redaction. So this is the button that's actually going to mark my material for redaction. So I'm going to click on that. Again, I get that bar, and you'll notice now every instance on the list is marked off. If I wanted to print that, I could click on the Save Disk at the top and have that printed for me either as a PDF or a CSV, so I could send it to someone and say, okay, here's all the instances. And then you'll notice that below that button for marking checked results for redaction is now grayed out. So that lets me know that all my instances have been marked. So I'm going to X out of that. And now I'm going to go back and check. And you can see every Social Security number here, if I scroll over it, what that redaction is going to look like. So now I can save this document, and as I mentioned before, send it to a colleague, send it to attorney, send it to co-counsel to have it proofed. And when they open this up, they can then go through one by one and decide if they want to save that redaction or retain that redaction or delete it. Or they could just click on Apply Redactions, which is what I'm going to do right now. And when you do that, it will redact every piece of information that is marked. Now you'll notice here, Adobe alerts you, point of no return. Once you click on OK, you're going to have redacted that information, which of course is what I want to do, so I click on OK. Adobe comes back and lets you know, yes, you've removed or redacted all that information. By the way, there's some hidden information in this document. Maybe it's metadata, maybe it's links. Do you want to remove that as well? I'm going to click on Yes. And when I do that on the left, Adobe prints a list for me identifying all the hidden information within my document. And again, you'll notice it has those little check mark boxes next to it off to the left. And that enables me to go in and decide what types of hidden information do I want to redact. In this case, I'm going to redact it all. So I'm going to hit Remove. And again, Adobe alerts me, point of no return. I'm going to click on OK. And by the way, when you remove hidden information, part of that process, I believe it flattens it. So if you had Bates numbering on there, you would not be able to go back and simply just remove. You would actually have to now redact that Bates information. Okay, at the very bottom, you get a notice in the lower left-hand corner that Adobe has, in fact, removed all the hidden information. So now I can X out. When I do, Adobe asks me, do you want to save these changes? And you'll note that Adobe has gone in and taken the liberty of adding to or changed your title of your original document. As you can see up here in the upper left-hand corner, my document was originally titled, or my PDF was originally titled Tax Returns. Now Adobe adds Tax Returns Redacted. It does this so that you don't inadvertently save over your original. So I'm going to click Yes. When I do that, it asks me where to save, and I am going to go ahead and save it. And now, when I close out of this, I have on my desktop my redacted copy. And here's perhaps one of the most important things you want to do, and that is always go back and check the document. So now when I open it up, I can see I have my redactions here. If I scroll through, I'm going to see more of them. And now let's just do a quick check. If I copy this, highlight it, and do Control-C to copy what I've redacted, and I open up another document, in this case, I'm just going to open Notepad, and I do Control-V to print it, you can see that what do I get? I get the X's. I don't get the original Social Security number that's there. So this has been properly redacted. But let's do a double check on this. And if I click on Tools, and I go to Content Editing, and I click on Edit Text and Images, now in Pro 10, you would actually click on Edit Object. But here I click on Edit Text and Images. If I highlight an instance of this and then right-click and use the delete, what happens? I get a blank space. So I have indeed properly redacted the Social Security numbers from this document. So I am good to go. Before we close out, one quick note. Under Protection, which is where you go to find your redacting tools, below them directly, you'll see a section that says Hidden Information, and you have two options here. You can remove hidden information, which is what I just illustrated for you, or you can sanitize the document. This is particularly valuable if you have an attorney that says, hey, I need you to scrub this document clean. They may not ask you to redact information, but just scrub it clean. Well, I could go into the document, open it up in Adobe Acrobat 11 Pro, come open up Tools, Protection, and if I click on Remove Hidden Information, it's going to give me that list and identifying all the hidden information in the document and allow me to individually select what I want to remove. If I click on Sanitize Document, it's going to delete all of the hidden information in one single step. So that's how to redact using Adobe Acrobat Pro. Thank you and have a good rest of the day.